This is the first video of 2020. It's the end of a decade that...
It was a long decade, wasn't it?
It's the year to reflect, it's the year to grow, and I'm feeling good about it. So today is going to be a little bit of a different kind of video, but it's basically 10 things I've learned this decade. Number 1, you don't need to shut people out. Going through such a difficult time, I had a kind of hard time letting people in, and I have really bad trust issues, and I'm always thinking, well, if they don't know, they can't use your words against you kind of thing. And it gets to the point where you start to become very independent, a little bit too independent, to the point where a lot of things is just locked in there, and sometimes it's hard to see things from other people's perspective. It's so important to allow yourself to say, like, it's alright to trust people. It's alright to be vulnerable. It doesn't necessarily mean you're weak. It just means that you're able to accept some things and learn from those things, from your own vulnerability, and that's so important. Number 2, the deeper you bury... I can't even English no more. The deeper you bury, the harder you'll have to deal with it. Let's just say that I have this tendency to bury it all down and kind of neglect it and forget about it completely. And when you do that, at some point in your life, when something happens to you, when you have a breakdown and all the stuff resurface, it is much harder to deal with than if you do it chunk by chunk. It's like if you're trying to cram for your studies in the last day, you're overloaded with all these emotions that you're not able to like see what's happening. But if you break it into chunks, then you can process it easier. I now know that it's better to deal with the problem when it arises. Right when it comes up, you identify what it is, you feel what you have to feel, you sit down and you say, well, what do I do next? What did I take out of this? You don't necessarily have to understand it. By acknowledging it, it leads to the first step of you trying to like understand what the problem is and fixing the problem. Number 3, you deserve love. It's so freaking cheesy. It's hard to acknowledge that you deserve love, because sometimes you get into your mind so much where you kind of beat yourself up in a way where you're like, I don't deserve it, because you belittle how you feel and you feel that I'm not worthy of someone's love. It's an easy mindset to get into. It's very easy to put yourself down. And I like to think that the hardest person on me is myself. I'm very hard on myself, and sometimes you just have to open up and say, well, you know, you deserve your own love. You deserve you telling yourself that it's okay. At the end of the day, you know, Christina, I love you. You know, I love you for who you are. I love you for all the weirdness you possess. But not only like love from yourself, but love that other people give to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic love, but it can be love from your parents, love from your friend. Love comes in so many different freaking forms, and it's alright to be like, thank you for your love. I really appreciate it, and it makes me smile at the end of the day. Accept love. Okay, number 4, reflect. Read.
What?
Okay, reflecting is freaking important. I cannot emphasize how important it is to reflect on everything when you spend time with people. You know, these reflection time teaches a lot about yourself and the surrounding that you're in, especially when you face a problem. For instance, let's say one day someone says something and I get super offended by what they're saying. it's really important to think back, well, what is it that triggers me about that? What is it? Why? Who? What? When? Where? Why? You know, all those things they teach you in school, ask yourself that. I guarantee you, when you sit down and reflect, you start to see what is it that makes you who you are, what experience in the past that makes you who you are, what are the things that make you who you are, what are the events that contribute to the way you do things, the way you react to things, the way you meet a partner, the way you make friends. It tells you so freaking much. Reflecting, it is the holy grail of problem solving. Number 5, you are not your thoughts. Okay? You are not your thoughts. You choose what you identify with. So let's say Christina, the potato couch lady, sits there, suddenly, while watching Netflix, goes, I'm not smart. I have disgusting hair. I am not good enough. I love potatoes even though I don't love potatoes. If you start to identify with all of them, you start to instill to your mind that that is who you are. And it is not. It's only something that crosses your mind. There are different candies on the sky, flying candies, okay? You take the candies and you shove it in your mouth, okay? That's what makes you who you are, all right? Now, if you take all the good and bad candies and shove it into your body, you identify with it. And you start to believe in that, and you start to think that's who you are. When really, it's just candies that are flying in the sky. They'll fly, you say, oh, I see you, candy. I see you there, but I'm not gonna take you. Recognize them, let them move on, and know what you are. And you will know that because after so many reflecting time, giving yourself all that love, understanding who you are, you'll start to realize those are just random neural sparking that causes this memory or causes this thought that you've seen somewhere, and you don't have to take it in and shove it down your precious
body.
Number 6, trust your intuition. Sometimes your intuition is right. Don't make me go beat you up and trust your intuition. Trust your instinct, trust your intuition. If you feel like something is not right, don't do it, okay? But hey, this is very different from being lazy, okay? Just because you know, like you have some intuition about I shouldn't go to class because there's gonna be an earthquake. No, not that kind of intuition, okay? But the part where you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't go there, or okay, these are like red flags that I think I have to deal with and not, you know, get myself caught up, or like maybe this is not the situation I want to be in and maybe I should ask someone for help, or things like that. I think it's very important to trust those kind of instinct and those kind of voice. Sometimes we neglect them and we're like,
oh yeah, but it's okay, it's gonna change, everything's gonna change, you know, these red flags are gonna change, magically something's gonna happen that makes them change.
no, it is not, okay? It's not gonna magically change unless you do something about it. Trust in yourself that you know what's good for you. Number 7. This one's a good one. This one's a really good one. I know you'll like it. It is what it is. It is what it is. What can you do when it is what it is? I learned this from a friend. She always tells me this. Whenever we go through like, I don't know, a situation, she's always like, it is what it is. And it's true. Sometimes some things happen that really is a little bit out of your control, and what you can do is look at it and tell yourself, you did your best. How can I learn from this? How can I reflect from this? What can I ask? Who can I ask? Who, what, when, where, why? Ask those questions. Learn from it, because it is what it is. You can control your behavior and how you respond to it, but you can't, there's some things you can't control, and some situation that just happens, and you just have to say it is what it is. Number 8. Go to the right people. You know, like, okay, let's say I have a car. My car has a problem. Am I gonna call a friend who has no clue about how to fix a car, or am I gonna call a mechanic who knows what they're talking about? You're gonna go to the mechanic, right? Because they know, they've been through something like this before. They understand how you feel, and sometimes you can't just expect a person to know everything you're talking about. Different people have different talents, and different people have different experience, and it's super important to go to the right people. You just really can't go to someone who doesn't know or hasn't been through something like that. You got a car, the car's broken, you go to a person who doesn't know how to fix a car, the problem is still gonna be there, and it's not gonna get solved if you don't have an insight of someone who's been through something like that. Not only that, but like, go to someone you trust. Don't go to just like a random person you don't know who's maybe gonna like give you some like cheap advice. Cater your problems to people you trust, and people that they've been through something like that and will give you some insightful views. Number 9, make the most of what you have. I learned this through being very financially limited to places I wanted to go to, and I've been through this a lot, where I wish I was somewhere, but I'm not able to be somewhere because either financially we weren't able to pay for it, or all that. And in my head at that certain time, I get into my head and I'm like, this is not where I belong. I should be somewhere else. And all these things, it makes you neglect where you are and the opportunities you're given. Because if you think about it, there's so many people who would not have the opportunity as you do, and you should really take that opportunity and make something out of it, and not just sit there and beat yourself over why you can't be somewhere else. Because everywhere else is the same as long as you make the most out of it. Sometimes we neglect that, and sometimes we forget and take it for granted. I do that too, but taking a step back and being like, well, it's not really where you are, it's if you're making the most of what you're doing. And if you realize that if you have that potential, then why aren't you going and getting it? Why aren't you going out there? Why aren't you working your butt out for what you want? Why aren't you doing that? So, make the most out of it, kids. Last but not least, number 10. Number 10 is different, okay? Number 10 is all about healthiness. Eating good food. Taking care of your health. We've talked about taking care of your mental health, all of the above, but taking care of your physical health. Cleaning your laundry. Cleaning the floor. Oh, I see my neighbor. Sorry, I got distracted there. All of these things contribute to your to your mental health as well. Eating, eating is a hard one because I'm a very picky eater, and sometimes I don't eat enough, I don't drink enough water, and that poses a problem now because now I have to deal with things like acid reflux. And being more independent, I need to schedule myself. Like, my mommy's not gonna come and feed me anymore but I have to sit there and be like, okay, what am I gonna make for myself for dinner? What am I gonna eat for breakfast? What am I gonna eat for dinner? Am I drinking enough water? Am I cleaning my face well enough? Did I change my sheets? There's a lot of these responsibility, and it's really important to take care of that. And yeah, making sure you're well in tuned with your body and your physical body and, I don't know, your facial body, or accepting you for who you are, but also feeding yourself with good thoughts, good food, good apples, good candies that are flying in the sky. Side note, sorry. I know a lot of this is very like deep mental area of it. That this decade has really been about focusing mentally and growing as a person for me. Eating habits, maybe a little bit. Face habit, maybe a little bit. Those habits a bit. But because it's the age where I hit puberty and I turned from a codependent to an independent to a still a little bit codependent, that it's completely changed my way of thinking and how I approach life, how I approach what I see, and growing older and realizing, oh bananas, I'm not gonna be young anymore. And that's a little bit scary, not gonna lie. Realizing that, oh my gosh, zooming out too far and you're like, it's so scary, okay. So living kind of like chunks and chunks day by day really helps. It really helps, when you understand where you are in life and how you deal with a situation and how you deal with what you encounter, and all these things collectively makes you grow as a person and makes you become more wiser as a person. So yes, that's the end of this video. For now, I hope those 10 things really spark some insight in you or wisdom in you to try out. And again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all later in the next video, which I hope is an interesting one. And yeah, bye. Okay, bye.